Addis Ababa, where I was to go, was 8,000 feet above sea level, with temperatures during most of the year now higher than an early English summer. At the Army and Navy stores in Victoria Street, we found a department that specialised in kitting out those bound for the tropics. They knew where Abyssinia was and could suggest the right medicines for the region. These included bottles of quinine pills, which were then reckoned to be the best protection against malaria. The Army and Navy also produced slabs of highly nutritious black chocolate, an iron ration for emergencies, to go inside the zinc-lined trunk. Our purchases in all weighed just short of 600 pounds, a quarter of a ton. I was not to know that such extravagance would contribute to Evelyn Waugh's portrait of William Booth in Scoop, the novel he later wrote about journalists covering the war. There were other preparations to be made. A visa to be obtained from the Abyssinian embassy in London, a large sum of money to be drawn from the newspaper's bank, and bookings to be made for the complicated journey to Addis Ababa, which in those days occupied the best part of a fortnight. True to his word about travelling in style, Gwyn equipped me with an open letter with a huge blue seal, informing all whom it may concern that Mr. William Francis Deeds had been appointed special correspondent in Abyssinia, the Sudan, Somaliland, and British East Africa, and requesting on his behalf all permissible facilities. He also sent me a longer personal letter which I treasure, for it carries the flavour of those less hurried days, and reminds me what a kindly place the Morning Post was. After expressing touching confidence in my abilities, it continues dauntingly. As an old war correspondent myself, I realise the difficulties that await a correspondent in Abyssinia are enormous. In the first place, there are two fronts. In the north, Eritrea, and in the south, Italian Somaliland. Presumably, so far as one can make out, the attack in force will come from the north. But I have no doubt that the Italians will try to make a diversion from the south. Gwyn was right on that count. One man, he went on reasonably, can only be in one place at a time, and therefore it would be ridiculous to expect you to cover all the fighting, if fighting takes place, in Abyssinia. All I can suggest to you is that you should keep as near headquarters as you can, for their news of every engagement will ultimately arrive. By keeping in touch with General Headquarters, you will be sure to get all the big news as soon as anybody else. Here he was wrong, for experience in the Boer War and the Great War offered no guidance at all for extracting news from the secretive and sometimes devious Abyssinian officials in Addis Ababa. I'm not laying this down as a positive instruction, this letter on azure blue writing paper continued, for obviously you must be allowed a large amount of discretion. But from my own experience in this kind of open warfare, I have found it myself of great advantage to keep in general touch with GHQ. This does not preclude you from going wherever you think you can get the best copy. I do not know Abyssinia, though I have been very close to the borders, but I do know something about its climate. It is very hot in the plains and at Djibouti, and you will therefore have to provide yourself with clothing for a tropical climate. At the same time, on the heights, the weather is cold and the wind keen, and therefore you will have to make provision for those tremendous drops of temperature which occur in the Abyssinian highlands. This was not so far off the mark. As regards financial arrangements, of course all your expenses will be charges on the office. In addition to that, I propose that while you are acting as a special correspondent, you will have allocated to you in addition